What I'm going to be doing at this lesson is to show you how we begin with doing a triple spiral.
Okay.
If you look down here at the mat, you can see how I have 3 sets of beads laid out on the needles. When you do a triple spiral, you'll need a core bead, which is, this is what I've selected, and it is a number 6, and it's opaque white. It's a smooth one. We don't normally choose a matte bead for the core because it is more difficult to get your needle through as you do many passes through the core beads.
Okay.
Now, this first group here, we always begin each group, not just the first group, but each group with a number 8. I'm pushing my 3 core beads down my thread so that I have about a 6-inch tail like that. Then I'm going to go in, pick up this number 8, pick up this seed bead, pick up the drop, the size 11 seed bead, and the size 8 seed bead. Then I'm going to send my needle right down that tube. This is how this sequence of beads lies next to the core beads, and there is no knot. It's just one circle of thread through. There, I'm flipping my sequence of beads to the left. Now I'm going to put on the second sequence that you see here laid out for you. You'll notice in this sequence I don't add anything to the core. We just go through the same 3 core beads. Here we've got each sequence on either side of the tube, but I'm going to push this one next to the first sequence. The third sequence that we do begins with our number 8 seed bead, our number 11 fire polish, number 11, number 8, and you can see the 3 core beads. We still don't add another core yet, and I will send the needle through the core just as we did before. Now you can see that I'm pulling the thread tight to bring the last sequence tight to the core beads. And I'm going to flip that one over so that they're all on the left side of the core, pulling it snugly. At this point, we're ready to add more beads. We want to add 1 core and put it down the needle and the thread till it sits right on top of the core here. I've had to push the 3 sequences apart somewhat so that A will have this space in it in the core so that I can add the next sequence of A on top. At this point, I've added the 1 extra core and slid it down to the first 3 core. I've put my needle through in the top 3 core in preparation to slide the next sequence of A right in this space between A and B. I've got my second row of sequence A just pulling in to position on the core, and you can see that it's fitting in snugly up to its first pass of that and in between the next sequence. Okay, now because I've got my second pass of A on, it's time to add the second pass of sequence B, and I've pushed sequence B a little bit over and sequence C separate from it so that I have my 4 core showing, but we're only going to go through the top 3 when I get my second pass of sequence B on. I've pushed my needle, holding the sequence B on there through the first top 3 core, and I'm going to continue pulling it through until it lays snugly in beside. Sequence B is being pulled snugly into position. And you'll see sequence C to the right hand side of it. What I'm going to do now is turn the whole series over so that I can get into the side of sequence C. Here I am picking up the beads as I go along. I've got the 8 and the 11 on, getting the fire polish, going back and getting my 11 and picking up the 8. Now I'm going to go up to the core, stick my needle into the top 3 core, right beside sequence C, pushing it through and pulling it up to be in beside. And I'm going to turn it slightly so you can see how they all lay in. This is how the sequences add up as the rows go by, and I'm at the point where I'll be adding the core bead once again. I've just finished going around, and I finished doing that one, the sequence C, so now it's time to do sequence A over again. I get my number 6 core bead, put it on the needle, put it right down to lay on top of the core. Okay. Here you can see where the last of the core was, and how I've got my needle through those 2 at the top, and then this one that adds on will be the 3rd core bead. Here I am putting on the sequence A right in that spot with the new core bead at the top. Then I'm going to twist it around and put in sequence B right in that space between the pink and the purple. Okay. The clasp that I'm going to eventually attach to the end of the triple spiral is this magnetic fold-over clasp, and it has the magnet right in the center there, and then there's a magnet on the part that folds over, and this would go on the other end of the spiral when I get it long enough, and then eventually it would just close like that.
Thank you, Deb.
Welcome.